We had been told 24 hours prior in a routine ultrasound that our first child, who we named after we were told this, Daniel, had a profound brain hemorrhage, a cerebral hemorrhage, in utero, 7 months. It's the eve of Christmas Eve. We're alone in Hong Kong. All the expats that we knew in Guangzhou, where we were living at the time, were home for Christmas, right? And I had to leave my wife and go find a place. And it was the closest I've ever come to wrestling with God all night long. And I remember I sent out a prayer request. This is 1996, mind you. I had this thing called, many of you may not have even heard of this, a CompuServe account. And to those who had CompuServe addresses in the US, I shot out a quick note asking for prayer. And as I thought about talking to you today, I thought, that moment of crisis in my life is actually, in many cases, a moment that many of you get to minister to and share one another burden every day in this ministry. And that's a beautiful thing, because that was a horrific night for me. But God gave me clarity in the morning. I had to be back at 6 a.m. for the surgery, the C-section, to try and take our son out. The doctors at the time, of course, had said he's not going to survive. And in Hong Kong, they recommended that we just do away with him. And we said, no, God has a plan for this young man. We named him Daniel, and I was going to be back at 6. And about 4:30, when I stepped into the shower after not sleeping, I was angry at God. I couldn't pray. But God gave me a song. And that song was really Psalm 118:24. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. And I said that begrudgingly. I gritted my teeth, but I said it. And it was really God's way at that moment of using the crisis in our family, a health crisis, right? Navigating uncharted waters, language, different country. We didn't live in Hong Kong. We lived in Guangzhou, which is 2 hours away. And it was a clarity on, are you going to trust me? And my answer was yes, by God's grace, right? But it was at that moment. And so that moment is a moment that dominates who we are as a family. By God's grace, Daniel is still with us today. He's 26 years old. He's a profoundly disabled young man, but he's got the joy of the Lord in his heart. And little did we understand, God saying, well, and believe that every life is precious, right? And that you stand for life. It's different when you're registering voters for life versus you're caring, right, for a special needs child for 26 years. But that has been God's blessing to Madonna and I and to Daniel's siblings, right? And so he chose to use it in that way at that time. And from that moment on, right, by God's grace, right? What compares to the loss of a child, right? The potential loss of your spouse, right? The horrors that are there. Again, you deal with families that are in these situations every day. So I thank you for that.
This is my desire. This is my desire to honor you, Lord, with all my heart I worship you. All I have within me, I give you praise. Lord,